I want everyone to know that I took an oath to the Constitution, to the rule of law, to New Yorkers, and that's what I do each and every day.
Well, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is accusing Tish James of ignoring warnings that a multinational bank was evading U.S. sanctions and in order to funnel money into the Iranian regime's pocket. She sent a letter to Pam Bondi claiming that China has used Standard Chartered Bank, a UK-based financial institution with a licensed branch in New York, to buy sanctioned Iranian oil, and alleges the payments were concealed from required disclosures under an active deferred prosecution agreement. Stefanik says Standard Chartered is a cash courier for terrorists, claiming the bank has facilitated at least $9.6 billion to bad actors over the years. And she says Letitia James was briefed on those alleged terror-linked transactions last year, then approved the bank's annual license anyway. Stefanik is urging Bondi to assign the case to New Jersey's U.S. attorney, citing a whistleblower claims that the bank used servers in Newark to process the payments. Stefanik warns a federal case tied to the bank will expire August 19th, saying that if authorities don't step in, the cash could keep flowing to America's adversaries. She's also questioning whether James coordinated with the Biden administration to brush off the alleged payments, and is urging Bondi to investigate what she calls James's, quote, inaction. This isn't the first time the bank's been in Washington's crosshairs. Standard Chartered Bank has already paid hundreds of millions of dollars over past violations related to Syria, Sudan, Cuba, and other countries on the U.S. sanctions list. So, Mark, Charlo, we reached out to the Justice Department to get comment from them, and they didn't want to give us anything at this point, and it wasn't even clear that they had received Stefanik's letter just yet. As for Standard Chartered Bank, they're flat out denying all the allegations and saying they comply with U.S. sanctions law.
Breaking news. Standard Chartered Bank sanctions evasion case uncovered. The Standard Chartered Bank sanctions evasion case, now in court in the U.S. Second Circuit, found at least $9.6 billion of illegal payments by the bank to Iranian and Hezbollah entities. The case implicates NYAG Letitia James and the Federal Reserve for ignoring billions of these illicit payments and ignoring Treasury sanctions designations. Maximum pressure is not being enforced because of the failures of the Fed and the NYAG. At least $9.6 billion of specifically identified illicit payments were made by SCB from its NYC branch to OFAC and known terrorist names. The $9.6 billion was found in internal trade reports turned over by bank whistleblowers and represents the first batch from SCB Dubai office that cleared through SCB NYC. There are estimated over $100 billion more of illegal payments that are more recent, and from SCB China, where it has 53 mainland branches that facilitate dollar trade payments for oil and war-making materials. These payments were hidden by SCB from required disclosure in its ongoing deferred prosecution agreement, now under the jurisdiction of DCUSA Piro and SDNY Clayton, where both were briefed on SCB after their appointments. There are career blockers at each jurisdiction. Involvement by the NYAG. In early 2024, NYAG was briefed by terrorist financing experts and the whistleblowers in detail on the illicit payments, yet did nothing about it other than reapprove SCB annual license. NYAG was briefed in two meetings in February and March 2024 about the $9.6 billion of illegal payments and did nothing but approve the annual renewal of SCB state banking license. One of meetings was recorded and clearly shows that NYAG officials recognized the payments were not previously known and not in prior SCB sanction settlements. 5 NYAG senior staff, including Letitia James, Deputy Scott Spiegelman, were in all meetings. In late 2024, Spiegelman went to work for IBM, which has a large tech contract running the SWIFT platform. IBM Promontory advised SCB to hide currency trade data. Involvement by the Federal Reserve. The Fed, along with its wire operations platform SWIFT, failed to block the SCB payments to sanctioned names, ignoring the Treasury OFAC and SDGT lists. The COO of SWIFT, Sherry Maguire, had been at SCB where she was directly involved in SCB hiding its currency trades. Sherry Maguire was approved by the Fed and is now COO of SWIFT, designated under Dodd-Frank as a systematically important financial market utility quasi-regulated by the Fed. The Eastern District of Virginia, USA is also considering investigation because SWIFT, its U.S. headquarters in VA. With all oil trade required to be in USD, China is using Standard Chartered Bank SCB and its NYC branch to buy Iranian oil in USD. Maximum pressure is being thwarted by a lack of enforcement by the Fed and the SWIFT system. Each have ignored the Treasury sanction designations. Recommendations: direct USA Bureau to prosecute SCB for breach of its deferred prosecution agreement. Direct SDNY Clayton to intervene and prosecute SCB in the case now in the U.S. Second Circuit. Retract delegated authority from the Fed, returning it to Treasury to enforce maximum pressure. End any operating agreement the Fed has with Brussels-based Society for Worldwide International Financial Transactions and merge its operations into Treasury. Collect more than $10 billion from SCB for the U.S. in sanction evasion penalties. The Fed is undermined in ignoring Treasury. Treasury, too, is being ignored by state regulators like those in New York, where the NYAG ignored and was busy doing lawfare. Background: the SCB evasion case is a rare situation where inside whistleblowers turned over 40,000 emails that contained the currency trade records for several years. SCB attempted to hide 100% of their currency trades. The internal whistleblowers were fired and filed suit in a case now on appeal in the U.S. Second Circuit. Obama and Biden career DOJ officials, John David Barney in SDNY, Greg Mazel in DC USA, and Matthew Komar FBI, have been blocking action on this case since 2024 because it was likely that news of $9.6 billion in specific evasion payments made by an NYC bank branch to known sanctioned terrorist and Iran-linked entities would be embarrassing to a Biden campaign. Enforcing the sanctions laws on the currently known sanctions evasion payments in this case will yield the U.S. more than $10 billion in settlements, while full investigation of the SCB China oil trade payments is likely to be a much higher amount of proceeds to the U.S. The exact same evidence of $9.6 billion of CB illicit payments is the subject of a UK Royals Court investor suit that is going to trial. Policy implications. The Biden administration and NYAG adopted a posture to ignore the $9.6 billion of illegal payments. SCB has chosen a major ongoing role in lucrative illicit payments while purposely concealing those payments.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.